Hi everyone, I just wanted to review some surface area stuff with you. I know that you went through the My HRW interactive student lesson yesterday as well as the personal math trainers, but I just wanted to go over it a little more in detail. So surface area is basically the area of all of the nets of a three-dimensional figure. A net is just a flat two-dimensional pattern that you fold up to form the three-dimensional figure. And then the surface area would be the sum of all the areas of the shapes of the nets. Because it's an area, it is expressed in square units, so miles squared or feet squared, inches squared, etc. And so you obviously can find surface area by looking at the nets or examining the nets, but there's also formulas that you may use for certain solids that will help you. The first one being formula for surface area of a rectangular prism. That is equal to 2 times length times width plus 2 times width times height plus 2 times length times height. It doesn't actually make a difference which is the length, width, or height. They're kind of interchangeable. And actually, if you wanted to, remember back to when we did factoring, you could actually factor out that 2 and do 2 times the quantity length times width plus width times height plus length times height, which might make it a little simpler. So that's an alternative formula that you may use. I'm not sure if you saw any cylinders yesterday, but there is a formula for cylinders as well. It's 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. 2 pi r, if you recognize that, that's actually the circumference formula. So it's the circumference of the circle times the height of the prism. And then plus 2 times pi r squared, and pi r squared we know is the area of the base, so the shaded area of one of the circles, and you're multiplying it by 2 since the cylinder has a top and a bottom circle. Here's a couple of examples just for rectangular prisms. Again, if you wanted to find the surface area of this prism, the length, width, and height are interchangeable. I just kind of went straight up and labeled them that way. And then the first thing that you would do, again, is write the formula that you're using, 2 times length times width plus 2 times width times height plus 2 times length times height. Then fill it in with the numbers. So 2 times 12.5 times 4.2 plus 2 times 4.2 times 8.1 plus 2 times 8.1 times 12.5. Remember, you are allowed a calculator in this module. So go ahead, feel free to use your calculator on your computer or a handheld one. And when you work this out, do remember, though, your order of operations, especially because on NJSLA, your 4-function calculator won't be able to do that for you. So you could multiply this product, then multiply this product, then multiply this product, and last add them all together. You should end up with 375.54 inches squared. The second problem says Joanna is painting the outside of her son's toy box, including the top and the bottom. The toy box measures 3 feet long, 1.5 feet wide, and 2 feet high. What's the total surface area she will paint? So again, we're going to look at the formula, write the formula for surface area, and they told us the length is 3, the width is 1.5, and the height is 2. So you can then go ahead and rewrite the formula with those numbers plugged in. Follow your order of operations, multiply everything out, and then do addition last, and you should end up with 27 feet squared. So that's exactly how much paint you need to cover the entire outside of that toy box. I know that some of you had questions about finding the surface area of a different prism, such as a triangular prism, and I actually broke it down into steps for you. The first step would be to find the perimeter of the base. So if you're dealing with a triangular prism, the base is a triangle. So again, perimeter would be adding up the length of the 3 sides. You then take that perimeter and multiply it by the height of the prism. So if you're thinking about it this way, you figure out the perimeter of this triangle and then multiply it by however tall your prism is. Next, you find the area of the base, again, the area of one of the triangles, by using the formula 1/2 base times height. Then you take that number and multiply it by 2, since there's also a triangle on the bottom of the prism. And then the last step would be to add the answer you get from number 2 to the answer that you got from step 4, and that will give you your surface area of the triangular prism in units squared. Here's one example. Remember these little red lines here that I'm outlining in black are called tick marks. They indicate that the three sides are the same. So step one, again, is to find the perimeter of the base or of this triangle. All three sides are 4, so the perimeter would be 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is 12. You then multiply that number by how tall your prism is. The length of the prism, or the height of the prism, is the length from one triangle to the other, and in this case it's 15 inches. So your next step, step 2, would be 12 times 15, which is 180. You keep that number, and then you're going to find the area of this triangle. Remember, the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. The base and the height have to be perpendicular to each other, so we're using these two numbers that I highlighted in green, which would be 3 and 4. So 1/2, 3 times 4 is 6. And then step 4 would be to multiply that by 2, because even though it's not drawn, there is a triangle back here that we have to account for. So 6 times 2 would be 12. And then I've highlighted the answer from step 2 and step 4. The final step would just be to add those two numbers together. So 180 plus 12 is 192 inches squared. I hope this video was helpful. If you do have any questions about it, please feel free to comment when I check in with you at 11:30. And also, if you look on Classroom, there's another assignment for you to complete now based on this information. Have a great day, guys.